Let's make roasted coffee beans. I am going to show you how to roast a coffee beans, but let's watch first this tutorial from TikTok.
Show you how you can do it. So here I've got my cast iron pan and I've preheated it to just over 500 degrees on this particular day. I dumped the beans in at 518 degrees. Very quickly, the temperature of the beans is going to cool the pan down a little bit though, and as they start absorbing that heat, you're going to see that you might need to adjust your stovetop temperature and bring it up a little bit. So these are just 12-second shots of me as I'm just constantly kind of moving the beans around, letting them roast. And like I said, every minute I'm doing a little bit more, so you can just see as they get darker and darker. I highly suggest keeping track of your time, because what's going to happen is you're going to see kind of where you want to start to adjust your heat as you go. So it's important to write that down as you're going, and then you can really see your progress in a very cool way. For instance, this last roast that I did, I dropped the beans at 518 degrees. A minute later, it was 497. A minute after that, 473. And then 523, 536, 489. And the last couple minutes, a little hot, 569, 573. Should have paid a little closer attention when I was doing that, but it still worked out well. And so, yeah, as you can see here, we're just about done. Starting the last 1 minute to go here. You can see they're nice and dark. The oils are starting to come out. I'm going to pull those, put them in a strainer, immediately bring them outside and start cooling them. And then just put them in a mason jar. And then what I do is every morning when I make my coffee, I just take that jar of the fresh stuff, pop it open, burp it, so to speak, let it breathe. And then after 3 days, you're good to go. Have some fresh coffee.
These are the steps on how to roast coffee beans. First step, preheat your oven to around 250 degrees Celsius. Step 2, spread the beans out on a baking sheet. Step 3, roast the beans for the desired amount of time. Step 4, quickly cool the beans to stop the roasting process. You can spread them out on a cooling tray and stir, or use a colander and toss them. Step 5, rest, allow the beans to rest and degas. Lastly, step 6, grind the coffee beans. These are the tips on roasting coffee beans. It is an art that requires skill and attention to detail. Some beans work better with certain roast profiles. Beginners may find it easier to start with a dark roast. You can use a popcorn popper with a side vent to roast coffee beans. Let's try to do roasting at home DIY edition. Since I don't have an oven, I'm gonna use a stove and a pan. Preheat the pan first at the medium fire. For the coffee bean, I'm gonna use peanut as an improvised. If the pan is already heated, put your coffee beans in the pan and stir it continuously. If you are going to do this kind of roasting, you should have more patience. Make sure that the fire is in the medium fire so that you can get the good outcome that you want. At this point, coffee beans are already roasted. This time you can smell the aroma of coffee. After that, turn off the fire and set aside the coffee beans. In the real situation, after you roast the coffee beans, you should put in a strainer so that you can remove the excess small pieces of coffee beans that is not necessary. That's all for my presentation. Hope you like this video.